Hey, it's Eric with Waterstone Mortgage, and I'm super excited today because I'm here with a friend and a great business partner, Karen Wilkins with the Wilkins Way Home Team. Karen, we've known each other 13, 14 years.
I think it was in 10 or 11, so whenever, maybe 12 even.
Somewhere around there, right? And you know, we started working together when you were just a sole agent, right? Now you have a successful real estate office in Orlando and Tampa. You're getting ready to open up your third in Northeast Florida. And I love your story. And something that's been on my mind when I wanted to do this video and spotlight was your why. You know, what is your why? What is the why that drives you to do what you do?
Well, I think naturally whys evolve, but there's always a piece of the original why. So the original why was super simple, two parts. One, I wanted $5,000 to take my family of 7 on vacation. Now we can barely get on a plane for $5,000, but I wanted $5,000 for a real fancy vacation. And then I wanted $5,000 to be able to give because my mom and dad grew up and they were givers. And because I was a stay-at-home mom with 5 kids, I wasn't in the position to ever have extra. So I wanted to have extra. And so that was the goal. And it has evolved from that simplicity to a giving mentality and also a provision for my family, but it's gotten a little bigger over the years. I loved giving abundantly. We were part of a church that had a lot of needs, and so we knew families that weren't going to have much for Christmas. And just being able to have that freedom to do what I want to, almost like most people want secret money to like go get their nails done or add their Botox, get their bigger lips, you know, all the things that are cool now. Mm-hmm. But my bigger money was so that I could hide this money away and go do things that really gave me joy.
Well, that's great because it actually leads right into the second thing I really wanted to hit on, and that's the evolution of that why. So can you talk more specifically about, you know, your why as a younger agent just starting off to how that why has evolved as a broker, owner, and team leader?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I never meant to be, I think part of, and this is good advice, some people, they have great inspiration to be broker, owner, team lead. And I think if you just do the right thing, you almost become broker, owner, team lead because it can't be stopped. It's a snowball effect. But none of that was on my aspirations list. But it evolved. I got busy. That's how it evolved. Is I wanted to give intentional service. That's who I am. I had learned that through different things from the church and just from my parents and from just my faith. And so I just said, we're going to do this with intentional service and we're going to do it with giving back to the community. Well, unfortunately, what that did was that made mama real tired. That was a phrase I used a lot for about 2 years is mama's tired, mama's tired. And so I looked at my husband one day and I said, I either need to put a sign outside our bedroom door because that's where business was, our whole bedroom. I either need to put a sign outside that says mama's tired, or I need to figure something out. So that was the beginning of the evolution. And I hired an assistant. We doubled in numbers that year, so that didn't work. I went to a stay-at-home mom neighbor, made her get her license. At the end of that year, she said she's too tired. And so we had to keep hiring. And that's how the business side of it evolved. The giving side of it, one of the things that I'm super proud of is that we take a portion of every bit of money that the Wilkins Way make and we set it aside. And it's kind of like a benevolence fund. And right before closing, you get an email and you say, okay, these are 4 charities that we believe in. If you would like us to contribute to one of those 4 charities, we will on your behalf. If you don't respond to the email, you go into the junk drawer, the pile of money. And so then what I love is people then reach out to us. People know that we do good in the community. They say, hey, we know this family, could you help with them? Or we know about this need. Or some of those 4 charities will call and say, beyond what you've given us, we really need a bunch of these things. And so we just have a fund and we give it away. And it's it's great. Another part of what we do is we let local charities know that if they ever need a place for a drop-off, if they need a place for a meeting, we kind of create ourselves like a community hub. So we keep bins by the door. Right now we're collecting cans. There's times we're collecting jackets, we're collecting blankets. But we want to be a center of the community that makes communities better. And that's been kind of what our thoughts were. We ask ourselves at the end of each year, I sit down with my little team and I say, have we made the communities better by being here? And how can we make them better next year? And that's just a measurement tool we've used to grow our business.
Is it important that your why funnels down to your agents and like, do they have a similar why, or hey, as long as they just have their own why, that's great? Like how much do they need to follow
I'll tell you
yours?
this, one of the interview questions we have that we always ask, and they don't, well, if you watch this video, you're going to know, you're going to be up to it if you ever interview with me. But one of the questions we say is, what is your favorite charity? And then we're quiet and we let them talk through that. And if they sit there and stare at us, and then, or if they go, I don't know, or they're kind of fumbling, we say, well, where do you like to serve? And so we ask those two questions. And we find that if we ask those two questions, we can find the alignment pretty quickly. They're easy, but that's how we find people. So yes, I would say my team is similar minded. Like they jump in, they help each other, they give a lot. And people who aren't used to that, when they come in, they're always like, well, what do I owe you? But no, it's just our culture. It's how we live out business.
Going back to our relationship, we're 12, 13, maybe 14 years, somewhere in there we've said, right? And we've seen a lot together, just as real estate professionals. And the market has handed us some great easy times, right? Market has handed us some difficult times. The last couple of years, I'd say probably more in line than a little bit more difficult. Yet we've come out of it on top. We have success during these times. But I always say, especially lately, there's all this noise. You've heard me talk about that. All this noise that's out there that you find a lot in media and social media, various levels, right? Economic conditions, whatever it may be, noise, noise, noise. How do you not let the noise, the distractions or hurdles negatively impact your why?
It's super simple. And by the way, I didn't know this question ahead of time, so this isn't planned. But it's super, super simple. Wake up today, do the right thing, serve others. You'll always have plenty of business. You may have less business than you had before, but we're blessed. Our business has not decreased at all. It's actually grown through the hard times. And it's not because of recruitment. It's just our business has grown. We have the same people there. But I'm okay if our business decreases during hard times, as long as we're waking up and we're doing the right thing and we're showing up for each other and our community and our clients.
Karen, what everybody's really wanting to know is, how did you come up with the Wilkins Way Home Team? Well,
since you were with me from Single Agent and Beyond, I'm going to give you a little applause. It was a Eric Putt Zinger, and that's where it came from. We were at a closing, Bill and Lizzie. It was their closing in Panera in Lake Nona. So we were sitting at the table, and we finished the closing. I was talking to them. We were talking about how I need to build a team so I can get more support and we can leverage our time. And I said, I just can't come up with a name. And then Eric left. He walked into the parking lot, came back into Panera, stuck his head in, yelled across the restaurant,
the Wilkins Way.
And then mic drop. And it's been here ever since.
Boom.
If you would like to reach me, you can call my cell phone. I just don't mind at all, but I might not return your call, so you better text me, 850-284-3143, or I can be reached at Karen@thewilkinsway.com.